So if you grew up in an era where film cameras outsold digital cameras, you might remember a different camera experience. You remember dials and shutter buttons. You bring a camera out and you bring it out with intention to take photographs. Nowadays, you're out somewhere and your phone is in your pocket. You pull it out, tap the camera app, and shoot. It's easy, it works, but it never really feels like you're taking a photograph. There's a disconnection there. That gap between using your phone and making a photograph, that's the thing this Fotorgear DMF Retro Kit is trying to close. And after spending some real time with it, I have some thoughts that might help you if you're buying a decision one way or another. I'm Rico Dad. Let's get into it. Quick context before we dive in. Fotorgear provided this no payment, just the gear. Now, I'm not a pro, just a dad who likes cameras. I shoot family, documentary style, everyday moments, travel. I've got a lot of cameras, including my daily carry, the Ricoh GR3. But nowadays, the iPhone 17 Pro Max is taking up a lot of my shutter time. I've tried a few case ecosystems at this point over the years, and there are other retro style phone cases out there. So I'm not coming at this cold, and I'm not going to try to oversell it. Also, the 400mm Pro lens that pairs with the system is getting its own dedicated video. I'll mention it briefly today, but that lens does deserve its own video. And I'll say up front, I honestly do like the 400mm lens a lot. Now, what is this kit really for? The Fotorgear Retro DMF Kit is not trying to be the most convenient iPhone accessory, because if you buy this expecting it to make your phone more usable day to day as a phone, you will be disappointed. What it's trying to do is transform your iPhone into a camera. And I mean that literally. With the case on, the retro bar mounted, and the grip in hand, this physically discourages you from using it as a phone. Everything about it nudges you away from notifications and towards the act of photography. That's not a flaw. That is the point. And whether that's a feature or a liability for you, it depends entirely on who you are. I mean, people will probably stop you in the street to ask about it, but it is a conversation starter, and the people asking are always genuinely curious and generally found it really cool. In terms of the build itself, it's got metal textured edges, a synthetic leather back, and a split upper and lower installation design that makes the whole thing look like a rangefinder body. It doesn't look like an iPhone in a fancy case. It kind of looks like a camera that just happens to run iOS. Now, the retro bar on top adds to the silhouette significantly. The physical knobs and dials are part of the visual identity of this as much as they are functional. They make a statement. If you want to commit to the aesthetic and lean into the advantages something like this offers, I do think this actually delivers on this quite fully. In terms of hand feel and build quality, in hand the weight is noticeable. This is not a lightweight case. Now, the leather grip handle is the thing that changes the shooting experience most in terms of feel. The quick release mechanism is solid, attach and detach in seconds. And once it's on, you genuinely hold it differently than you hold a phone. Your right hand wraps around the grip, your other hand supports the front. Again, intention. You're slowing down to enjoy the act of photography. Now, the 1/4-inch tripod mount at the bottom is a small detail that matters to a lot of people, including me. It is worth noting though that it is on the side of the phone, and so you'll generally need a larger weighted tripod to make it work. If you're using something smaller like this Sony tripod I have here, the mass of the phone actually is going to tip over the entire thing. And as a phone, totally usable. But again, the form factor fully discourages you from using it that way. It's clunkier in a pocket. Texting feels wrong. That is again not accidental, but I can understand those of us who want to slap on a do not disturb and commit to being present and just become one with this tool. Now, the tool really comes down to the retro bar. It's where the kit separates itself from being just a case. Now, I will say Bluetooth pairing is actually pretty flawless with this pairing. I have used other grips where pairing is a bit of a ritual and you gotta reconnect, forget the device, and then try again. The retro bar here does connect instantly and it's pretty consistent. Now, the controls pair with the Fotorgear app and are fully customizable. One push at the top of the screen in the app gets you into retro settings, and that's where you assign things like the shutter button behavior, the dial function, and the knob settings. So you can have ISO, focus, exposure compensation, filter switching. You decide what each knob does. Personally, I do use the left knob for film simulation switching and the right knob for exposure compensation. In terms of the feel of the knob themselves, the left knob is noticeably dampened and smooth, while the right knob feels a bit looser. I'm not sure if that's intentional. The zoom control is also on the looser side, but still functional. And I don't know if this is due to its design or a manufacturing variance, but they are still quite pleasant to use. Now, the shutter is solid and supports 2-step type functionality. One thing worth mentioning though, it seems to click on depressing the button, not on the full press down. And so the first time I used it, I thought I'd missed the shot. You do kind of get used to it really quickly, but it's different from what you might expect coming from a traditional shutter. But once it's in your muscle memory, it's fine. It works really well. Now let's move to the software. The Fotorgear app has a lot of unique functionality, but it's also still maturing from my point of view. That's not unusual for a hardware paired camera app, but do set expectations accordingly versus something like Blackmagic Pro or the Moment apps, which have had years of polish at this point. Now I did run into some stability issues. The app would randomly default to Chinese. I don't mean the UI switched language, I mean just the settings labels and menus would flip, but they would just go back. There were also random crashes. Now reinstalling the app resolved all of these issues, and since then it's been pretty stable, but I shouldn't have needed that. That said, I found the Fotorgear app better than I expected overall. Again, you can configure the retro bar at the very top of the screen, one push and you're there. I do think this is well designed. In terms of film simulations, this is where the app genuinely surprised me quite a bit. First off, there's a lot of different film simulations, but the level of customizability of each film simulation is, dare I say, Ricoh-esque. A lot of apps only let you adjust the intensity of a film simulation, but with the Fotorgear app, there's a significant number of customizations to each film simulation. And for a smartphone app, I actually think it's kind of unmatched in this space, at least from what I've seen. There's also a Cinestill mode. It shoots in Apple log actually and applies a more cinematic tone to your photos, lower digital sharpening, and a film-like rendering. The results are quite pleasing. For people who want their photos to feel less like iPhone photo, this is a setting to spend some time with. Now, I'd say the takeaway from this is that the actual retro kit itself, the physical kit functionality is really tied to the app, and the app is free. So consider downloading it first and playing around with the app so you can see if you like this kind of a shooting experience and the app itself. Now, would you actually buy something like this? I'm curious, how far does the retro go for you? Are there other case systems you're looking at? Drop it below. Let's talk about it. Now let's talk about the shooting experience. Shooting photos with the Fotorgear app and the retro bar in hand is, I think, the closest I felt to shooting a compact camera on an iPhone. The physical shutter in your grip, the dial to adjust exposure, the knobs for whatever you want. It removes the tap for screen, hope for the best feeling the default iPhone shooting is. The Cinestill mode in particular produces files that feel different from anything the native camera app will give you. And like I said, the film simulations are highly customizable. Now you can shoot in film simulation as a HEIF or JPEG and still have a raw file, which is quite useful if you want a clean image to do editing down the road. You also have the ability to watermark the image out of the app to give your photos a professional and consistent look. Now let's talk about video shooting. Video shooting with this rig is functional, but it's not really where the kit shines. The physical controls are more useful for photos than video. You know, adjusting ISO, exposure, mid-roll, and knob is useful, but the app's video feature set is less developed than on the photo side. I found certain tasks like locking shutter speed less intuitive than I'd like. That said, I still think it's very capable. You've got ProRes, HEVC, Apple Log, and Apple Log 2 are all there. However, the Fotorgear app does seem to have a video secret weapon, which is the lens EIS mode, and I'll get into that shortly. Now, one thing worth calling out, the kit does come with a 67mm filter adapter, which means you can stack an ND filter and get that cinematic motion blur many of us are chasing for video. All right, now let's talk about the secret weapon. The Fotorgear app includes a specific electronic image stabilization mode, and the implementation is well thought out. It can be customized per lens, which matters once you start adding reach. There is a preview pane on top that lets you see where your field of view is relative to the uncropped image, and that significantly helps with you visually tracking your subject, and in the case of the 400mm Pro, manually focusing. It can shoot in either video or photo mode, though I don't think it's as useful in photo mode, since for a lens like the 400mm you are using it outside and likely can get away with a higher shutter speed due to lighting conditions. But for video, it's kind of crazy. At normal distances, your iPhone's OIS will handle most of the stabilization. Stack a longer lens on though, and the EIS starts earning its place, to the point where I could get away with handheld shooting at 400mm, which isn't something I could have said a few months ago. You can also shoot at 4K 60 and get very usable footage. You can't seem to shoot in log in EIS lens mode yet. Now the 400mm Pro gets its own video because I think it deserves the time, but lens EIS is a big reason why I think it's really good. Okay, how do I actually carry this setup day to day? I actually use the included neck lanyard. The included lanyard attaches to the case and lets you wear the rig around your neck or the wrist. It's the most natural carry mode for this kit. You're treating this like a camera, so you carry it like a camera. And I'm the type of guy who puts wrist lanyards or at least a Peak Design puck on all of my cameras, so this felt immediately right. Now in a bag, it fits, but it's a camera bag item, not a phone in pocket item with the full rig assembled. The modular design helps, the grip and retro bar do attach, so you can strip it down for pocket care when you need to. But at that point, you're just carrying the case and you've lost most of what makes this kit interesting. Now, who is this kit for? This kit elevates the act of using it. It makes you slow down, compose, adjust. The aesthetic isn't accidental. It kind of harkens back to film camera designs. And if that resonates with you, you'll feel it every time you pick this up. Another person that this might work for is the shooter who wants to go deep into the camera app. The Fotorgear's app film simulation depth is legitimately, I think, pretty impressive. If you've ever felt limited by the native camera app, there's a real rabbit hole you can go down here. This is generally a really good experience, particularly on the photography side. The retro bar pairing is rock solid. The app's film simulation depth is impressive. And lens EIS, like I said before, is pretty crazy. Now the trade-offs are real too. App stability has had rough patches, reinstalling fixed mine, but it shouldn't have to do that. The kit makes your phone less phone-like by design, and the aesthetic will draw attention to you whether you want it to or not. And for the right person, this is a very worthwhile kit. It definitely changed how I approach shooting a day with the iPhone. You know, that's going to work for a lot of people. So next up is going to be the 400mm Pro lens. That gets its own test. I'm really looking forward to sharing my thoughts with you. If you want to catch that when it drops, subscribe, hit the bell, you won't miss it. So again, I'm just a dad of a camera, figuring things out, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.